Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Profitable Chats. We are so excited to get to meet with you. We're twins today. Twinkies, not twins. We do not look alike. But our shirts say you are enough.
Know that you are.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. You are enough for God to love you. You are enough for God to use you. Mm-hmm. Yes. No matter where you've been, what you've gone through. Matter of fact, it might be helpful in serving others, the things you've gone through. But nevertheless, you're enough. Just wanted to tell you. So we're off on another episode. Here we go. New topic.
Yep, new topic. I want to start just reading some foundational scriptures, and then we'll talk about what exactly we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
All right. I don't know if they're the ones we just talked about in any specific order, so whatever one you're open to first.
Luke 21:10.
Okay.
Okay, I guess. Okay, it's really 10 and 11, we're going to say. Then he continued by saying to them, and we're talking about Jesus is talking, nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be great earthquakes, and in various places plagues and famines, and there will be terrors and great signs from heaven.
Okay, so he's talked about when God moves, there's going to be manifestations of those things on the earth.
Okay.
Earthly things are going to happen. Okay. Mm-hmm. I think there's another one in Luke, if you want to do that before we move.
Yeah, 21:25 says, I'm going to read 25
this is at the
and
return
26.
of Christ. When he's talking about the return of Christ.
Okay. And there will be signs in sun and moon and stars, and upon the earth dismay among nations, in perplexity at the roaring of the sea and the waves, men fainting from fear and the expectation of things which are coming upon the world, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken.
Okay. Go ahead and read another one's Matthew.
Oops, I thought I had marked my place in Matthew.
You got 16:11.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I really thought I did that. I got carried away, I guess.
You're great.
Matthew 16:11. Jesus talking again. How is it that you do not understand that I did not speak to you concerning bread, but be aware? Nope. Is that what you mean to read?
Matthew 16:3.
Oh,
my bad.
16:3. Thank you. I'm like,
that might make more sense to what we're doing.
Wow. I was like, I don't recall us talking about the 11.
I don't either.
Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. But he answered and said to them, Jesus speaking, when it is evening, you say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning, there will be a storm today, for the sky is red and threatening. Do you know how to discern the appearance of the sky, but cannot discern the sign of the times?
Okay. And then Acts, was it 2:17?
2:17.
Or Joel, whichever one you want to read.
Yes, it is a quote from Joel. Matter of fact, 16 says, but this is what was spoken of through the prophet of Joel. 17. And it shall be in the last days, God says, that I will pour forth of my spirit upon all mankind, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. Do I keep going?
Keep going.
Even upon my bondslaves, both men and women, I will in those days pour forth of my spirit, and they shall prophesy, and I will grant wonders in the sky above and signs on the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and glorious day of the Lord shall come.
Okay. So what we want to try to show through the word is whenever God is doing something supernaturally, when it's happening spiritually, he's also manifesting it on the earth,
Yes.
physically.
Okay.
And we walk around thinking that, it's just day-to-day stuff, completely disconnected from what's going on in God's kingdom.
Okay.
But the truth is there's a direct connection between the heavenly and the earthly.
Okay.
We can't see that connection.
Sure.
But there is, each one of these shows that God does things and it affects the earth.
There's a
He
correlation
does this and
every
it affects
time.
it. Read that last part from Joel again.
The last part, let's see.
The signs in the heavens.
And I will grant wonders in the sky above and signs on the earth beneath. Is that specifically what you want to keep going, or just that? Blood and fire and vapor of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and glorious day of the Lord shall come.
So obviously, we've got to first understand there is a big connection. Mm-hmm. And he demonstrates things that are happening here and they're happening here. We don't make that correlation.
Right.
We just, again, we think that, when it rains, when these things are just normal.
That's how it goes.
And then things out of the normal happen, but we don't look at them as out of the normal. Or
we don't attribute them to being something spiritual.
Yeah, we just go, wow, the weather's weird. Okay. We don't do anything about it. But the truth is, we're told to pay attention to the signs. He even rebuked them and says, you look at the sky and go, it's red, we're going to have a storm. You interpret the signs, but you don't pay attention to the signs of the times. Now, make sure that everybody understands this. No one will know the day nor the hour.
Right.
It says that clearly.
The scripture says that.
But then he goes on to say, but you need to know the seasons and the day, the times that you're in. So we're still to pay attention to things and know those times, know those seasons. We talked about the was it 10 virgins? I don't know. With their oil lamps.
Yes, that's what
I don't know how many virgins,
meant for us to look up. Okay.
We'll just reference it.
Okay.
But they were told, hey, the bridegroom is coming. So they were told that it's coming. They didn't know exactly what day he's coming, but because they paid attention and heard, okay, something's happening, this event is happening, we're going to go be prepared.
Well,
some were prepared, some weren't.
Right.
And
they were wise and foolish.
But yes, so in that same way, we're supposed to pay attention to the times and the seasons so that we're prepared for what God is doing in those times and those seasons. Mm-hmm. Part of that is listening to the prophets, because he does nothing new without first speaking through his servants, the prophets. So if the prophets are starting to say stuff, then maybe we need to look at the signs and the times and see if things are happening. And right now I want to preface so nobody jumps off a cliff here. We are not in the end times. This is not
we are.
The last day. Hang on.
I'm saying we're. Okay.
We are in a portion of the end times, but this is not the end times.
Yeah, like Jesus isn't coming back.
Yes, do not pack up your suitcase and, he's coming tomorrow. It's not that. It's a prelude to that. It is definitely a prelude to that. Right. We are in the end times, but we're at the beginning of the end times. So there's a great shift, like we've talked about before. The bride is without spot, wrinkle, or blemish. That's where we're supposed to be before he comes.
Right.
That's what he's coming for. We're not there,
right?
Obviously. So we're in a season that bride is going to be prepared,
right?
And we're going to be made pure in his sight. So there's all that needs to happen. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that what's going on right now is not biblical.
Right, of course.
And I want to stress this. We are in biblical times, without a doubt.
Yeah.
If you think 2020 started just a fluke, I'm telling you that's not the case. There is, let's back this up, because there's a lot of people that are going to have a hard time grasping this whole thing. So let's just take it at a teaching level.
Okay.
So in the beginning,
that helps me anyways.
Yes, it helps. Yes. In the beginning, we had Satan had his fall, and from that point, his goal was to destroy man, take over the earth, control, take as many as he could.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, from the beginning.
Right.
Has that changed?
No.
No. So from the beginning, he has been trying to take over. He's been trying to rule and take down everybody he can.
Right.
That's been his plan from the beginning. He's never let up.
Is to kill, steal, and destroy.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Hasn't changed.
Right.
We think since we go on day-to-day life and we don't see him popping up here and popping up there, he doesn't care about him. He is working as hard today as he ever has.
Oh, maybe
he's working harder because that time is getting shorter.
And he knows that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, if Satan has been working this whole time, he works through corruption of man.
Sure. Through deception.
Through deception.
Mm-hmm.
Sheep and a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Right.
He's going to infiltrate into those areas. So
he's literally involved in every single aspect of life.
Yep.
I'm just saying, church, politics, our individual lives, yes.
We think that there's, if you're worshiping the devil over here, that's one thing, and you're worshiping God over here, that's one thing, but then there's all this stuff in the middle.
Right.
And the truth is, Jesus said, if you are not for me, you are against me.
It's a big word.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need, you don't need to preach an hour on that. It is what it is. If you are not sold out for him, you are serving the devil. It just, that's it. So that means we need to look at everything in this earth. If it is not set up to glorify God, it's to glorify the devil.
Oh.
He does it subtly, so we don't see, because if he's doing it in big ways and, bold in front of your face, which he's getting bolder, so it's easier to see.
Mm-hmm.
But he does it. He's had enough time on this earth to learn how to fully manipulate man, how to ease things in there, how to make it look like it's right, and get you kind of lulled into it. Mm-hmm. And so to think that he's not in the middle of everything going on right now, it's ignorance. Just plain and simple. We're not paying attention to the signs of the times.
Yeah.
We're not watching for those signs. If you look at how many earthquakes we've experienced, if you're paying attention, now if you're listening to mainstream news, again, if it's not for him, it's against him. Mainstream news, if it's not there to glorify God, it's there to serve the enemy. He will use anything he can to manipulate and push his agenda. His agenda is against God. Mm-hmm. Just straightforward. Right. People go, well, no, the news is going to tell us the truth. The news is going to tell you what they want you to hear, because they're serving. Are they serving God? They're not serving God. Whether they know it, right, and willfully do it or not is irrelevant.
Yeah, because we're not necessarily talking about specific news anchors or whatever.
Correct.
Okay.
Now we will find out a lot of stuff, but yes.
But you're talking in generality.
In general, it's just that simple. If you can break things down and go, okay, good versus evil. Satan is against God, wants to do everything he can. If you're not for him, you're against him. If you see that clean line, then it's easier to see. And so you start looking at all the things that are happening. We are literally experiencing biblical situations right now on this earth. God is speaking through his prophets. He is saying, I'm pouring out my latter rain. We talked about that a little bit here, a little bit there, probably a whole series on it because it's amazing. Mm-hmm. But just like in Acts, like Joel talked about there, there was an early rain and a latter rain. We're about to step into that latter rain. It's going to be so amazing. He's going to pour out just so incredibly. But in order to do that, he's got a lot of purging to do. He's got a lot of evil to remove. Sodom and Gomorrah had to be destroyed in order for a new thing to happen.
Right.
The ark, same thing. We had to have destruction in order to have that. When we came out of, when they were delivered out of Egypt, He destroyed the entire army that was chasing him. I mean, there has to be destruction in order to be deliverance.
Well, I guess you'll get there. I'll wait for you.
No, go ahead.
Well, just the correlation of the two.
Mm-hmm.
So, spiritual stuff, spiritual evil was happening on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And Noah was building the ark.
Mm-hmm.
Evil stuff was happening. And then the flood.
Yep.
There was the spiritual stuff. There was the physical stuff that was a sign of it.
Exactly. Yep. And we're sitting in that same type of situation right now. We're seeing things that we've never seen ever before in our times. But the media kind of glosses over them so they're not as obvious,
mm-hmm.
or they manipulate it completely so it looks like it's another way. The January 6th event is a perfect example. It's made to look like it was this when it was this. And, he's a manipulator. He's a master manipulator.
Okay.
And the sad part is so many people who carry the name Christian have been manipulated, have not seen the signs. They have not opened their eyes to it and not cared to. It's easier just to, if that pastor up there is not telling me about it, I don't need to know. And we just go on. And
we're going to focus on God stuff.
Exactly.
Instead.
Yeah. And that's another thing the enemy did a great job of.
Mm-hmm.
He made us believe that the God stuff just meant in the building and we sit there and we keep to ourselves.
Right.
When we are supposed to be the ones ruling. It says, I have to write the scripture down. Oh, I've got it. It's
my phone, but I can certainly.
No.
Okay.
It is basically, we're told that not only are we supposed to not participate in the things of the evil one, the evil things, the deeds of darkness, but we are to expose them.
Mm. Yeah.
How are we going to expose those deeds of darkness that are going on in the world right now if we're ignorant of them?
On purpose, even.
And
mm-hmm.
the church has been so lied to that we're told that, well, we don't get into politics, we don't get into the things of the world, and the truth is that especially the prophets and the apostles, they went and spoke into leadership. They went to mm-hmm. Caesar and stood before Caesar. God purposely took Paul before Caesar. Paul could have stated his case, won it here, and left.
Mm-hmm.
But the Lord revealed to him, you will go before Caesar. So Paul said, I'm going to stand before Caesar because I'm supposed to speak into the highest level. And
even I have heard this, I can't give dates, but there was a time, and I want to say it was in the 40s,
okay.
When the church decided as a whole, somehow, I don't know, so maybe I shouldn't even be saying this, but I'm pretty sure this is real, but they decided we're not going to be part of Hollywood. Because there were, apparently, before that, Christians who were in movies and things. But it started being, we're pulling out.
Yeah.
We're pulling out of politics. We're pulling out of Hollywood. And what has happened from that point till now?
The enemy just swooped in and
now he's running
more.
Rampant
mm-hmm.
because there's nobody in there to be halting things.
Yeah.
Or very few. I mean, I'm not going to discount everybody.
I put the condition of this nation on the organized church.
Oh, yeah. Well, the condition of the world.
Yes.
It's true.
It's easy just to get focused on the United States, but you are absolutely right. Because the church has failed to be what the church is supposed to be,
right.
The ecclesia.
Mm-hmm.
We have become weak, effectless,
right?
And we've just taught that we just ignore that stuff. We just stay over here. But we're told to pay attention to the signs of the times. We're told to be leaders. We're told to be governing rulers. And because we haven't, all this stuff is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't want to go into too much on this one.
Okay.
But there's so many things that are optics that we think are happening that are going on right now that if you pay attention, you would actually know what's going on right now. And, but it blows my mind when we talk to people that are just serving God and loving God, but have no clue what's going on in this world. I mean, we get rebuked for not paying attention.
But yay for serving God and loving God.
But absolutely. But you can't.
You need to be aware of all that's happening, because then you can know what to pray for.
And you can expose the evil.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if we don't expose the evil, we are supposed to be light, which puts out the darkness. Mm-hmm. And it even goes on in that scripture I was talking about, that it's our light that shines in the darkness and brings that evil to light. And the problem is we sit in our church. That's our basket that we put our light under.
Ooh.
Just heard that right now. That is our basket, and we put our light on it. And we've been told you don't do that.
Don't put your light under a bushel.
No, you don't. And yet that's exactly what we've done. We've taken our light, we've put it in this building, and we've kept it in there. Mm-hmm. And, we might sneak out and get a little brave and pull somebody else in to the light. And,
we say we're doing that. We say we're going to step out into the world and be the light. But do you really see that?
But the truth is, if you're not going out there exposing darkness, and I'm telling you, people, the darkness there's some stuff that's coming out that will come out before too long that is going to shock people to their core because they don't know. You were shocked to your core at the beginning of this.
When I started learning, I was like,
what? You didn't want to know. You were like, nope, I don't want to know that. I don't want to know that. I'd rather be, But
it's easier. I mean, this is from my own opinion. It's easier to sit over here and just not be concerned about that stuff, because that's what I was doing. Mm-hmm. I was. And some of the stuff I was learning, I'm like, there is no way this is real.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And the thing is, when in March 2020, when all that stuff started happening, that immediately I got something ain't right here. Mm-hmm. And if you've got a direct connection with the Holy Spirit, which we all should have, you should have gotten something doesn't seem right here. Mm-hmm. And it was so simple. It wasn't rocket science. It wasn't, 80 hours of having to do a deep dive. I just simply got on my phone and I went, they're wanting us to wear a mask so we don't catch this. Okay. So I'm looking up, because I know I grind concrete for a living. I put on a mask, and I know that stuff gets in, and so I'm like, is it really going to stop this? So I look on there and I'm like, particle size of this virus. Okay. Particle size for the N95, which is the
one they said. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that won't stop it.
Right.
2 minutes. I just did this and went, well, that won't stop it. But yet they're pushing it really hard. Right. They've got to know it doesn't stop it. And they're not that stupid.
Just for fun. They're saying, people should be wearing N95, but anything you want.
Throw some cloth over
there. It could be your shirt.
Just throw some cloth over there.
It can be all these cutesy handmade ones. It could be a plastic thing just hanging in the front.
Yeah.
But it's going to help.
Because it doesn't go around. And so anyway, you start just researching a little bit from there, a little bit from there, a little bit from there, and you're like, these things aren't adding up.
Right.
And then you start finding the agenda of the enemy and why these things are happening. And now you're starting to see that, and now you're starting to line some things up, and it just takes opening your eyes, listening to the Spirit of God as He starts going, yep, this is, what about this? Or, this doesn't feel right, or, whatever. And
it's just little red flags. If we just pay attention to the little red flags.
Discern the signs of the time. Mm-hmm. And there are so many things that have happened, if you're watching, that you're like, okay, that lines up with, things He said to watch out for.
Right.
And, it's just, you don't get obsessed with it, because it can distract you from this.
Yeah,
this is first and foremost, but we still have to be looking and watching and being aware so we can expose it. Because if we don't look, we can't expose it. We're supposed to expose it. So you can't be consumed by it, but you can't be ignorant of it.
Right. There's a balance.
There's a balance, and that balance comes in your relationship with him.
Mm-hmm.
He will keep you balanced in it. There are times that I got too focused on it, and he said, set it down, return your focus. Absolutely. Wouldn't look at stuff, wouldn't pay attention to stuff. And there's a lot of information out there that some of it was like, Spirit's like, that's not true. Or you can just research, do a little bit of research. No, that's not it, or that, But people who don't think that it's biblical to pay attention to what's going on right now, it's the opposite. We are told to pay attention. We are told if we can't be the ecclesia where we are supposed to be out leading and governing if we don't even know what's going on in the world today. Okay. I know who our actual president of this United States is. So do you. And it's not who you think. I can prove it. Absolutely. Without a doubt. But people are like, well, no, because on TV and I'm not, I can show you where they've used shadow governments and puppets before. I can show you, we learned, even validated the other day, how
in way greater detail.
This current one got a funeral procession, if you understand military symbolism and law. Mm-hmm. And where the other one, who is still and always has been since 2016, our president, he got an inauguration.
On the same day.
Right. By the military. Mm-hmm. So, anyway. If you know, you know.
Are we both saying that?
Yes. And we should know. That's the thing. We should know. Mm-hmm. We should not be ignorant. And again, I rebuke all the leaders who were sticking your head in the sand and saying, nope, we don't pay attention to that. We don't pay attention to politics. We don't talk about politics.
And we don't bring that into our church.
It's because of that we're where we are today. Mm-hmm. Because the church, as an organization, has failed to lead this country. The church founded this country,
right, but
failed to lead this country. When we become Christians, we don't stop becoming patriots.
People of this world. Oh, patriots. I'm a patriot.
I'm very much a patriot. I'm a patriot because God set up this country. Yes. And God has great things for this country. Mm-hmm. And God is restoring this country.
Because I'm only time is going, but Israel mm-hmm. and the United States mm-hmm. are parallel. Mm-hmm. There are so many things that correspond with each other. Mm-hmm. So
there is an absolute evil part of Israel.
I know. Mm-hmm.
That is trying to control and take over and do as well as here.
Sure.
Both are failing. Mm-hmm. Because God's already won. He's already flipped it. We're just having to see it play out because people aren't awake yet.
But ultimately, there are only two countries in the entire world that were mm-hmm. founded upon God.
Mm-hmm. Finish it.
And it's Israel.
Because
he's their chosen people.
Because God first loved them.
And it's the United States.
Because we first loved God.
Because we loved God.
Yep.
Our forefathers.
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, get back to understanding if it's not for God, it's against God. Plain and simple. There's not a gray. There is no gray. It is one or it's the other. The enemy is doing everything he can to take it down. He's lies. He's deceives. He's going to put people in there that you're going to hear great sermons from. You're going to see great things from, but yet their heart isn't really the Lord's. Yes, they belong to the wrong side, and that will be revealed, and that's going to shock us, mm-hmm. some of us. But God's got everything under control. I heard somebody else say this, and I'm going to repeat this as well. There's nothing to be worried about in what's going on in the world right now. And if I get worried, you can be worried. But we're not there. We're not there. Things are so beautiful, and they look so massively out of place and out of line and horrible. But God's in control. There's so many things behind the scenes that we don't know. But I can give you executive orders. I can give you
And
different statutes.
maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do an episode
Yep.
that has some of the proof things that
Yep.
we have
Yep.
learned.
Yeah, because there are so much it's there to be seen if you're looking, but nobody's looking.
Mm-hmm.
So just know this: God's winning. He's in control. He shows us what's going on. When you see things out of whack, when you see the weather systems are out of whack, it was prophesied that we'll have extreme heat when we don't get extreme heat. We've gotten that. There's another one that we haven't seen yet, but it said that I think it said that there'll be snow in summer or something to that degree. Don't quote me on that. I don't listen to all the prophets. She hears things and shares them with me, but there's just been a lot of things that have happened that God's prophesied. He's spoken to his prophets. These things are going to happen. They've happened.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to happen. It's happened. These are going to happen. It's happened. So many things. But nobody's looking, or few people are looking.
Right.
So I'm saying right now, wake up.
Start looking.
Pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get consumed by it, but don't be ignorant. Do not be ignorant. Do not be ignorant. Know what God's doing. There's coming a time that very shortly that there's going to be huge revelation that's going to shock nations, and it's going to shock people to their core, and we've got to help them through it. Yes. So.
Yeah, we
That's all I'm
done.
going to say
We
right
done
now.
for now.
You know, I could go on forever with what God's doing right now. Oh, we should probably wrap it up
Yeah,
right there.
we really should. Hey, so we're going to say goodbye for now. We hope to see you next time. Like, subscribe, comment, send your prayer requests. You know the thing. We'd love to pray for you. Yeah, for anything. So just let us know.
Go ahead and
All
give me the comments that I'm off my rocker. I'm fine with that. I know the truth.
Or we can talk about it. So, all right, we'll see y'all next time.
Yep.
Thanks. Bye.